Day one of the Anderson Tendulkar Trophy, day one of a new age in Indian Test cricket has belonged to India's batters. Hundreds from Yashasvi Jaiswal and Shubman Gill see them drive the initiative after being asked to bat at Headingley. Sanjay Manjrekar joins us on ESPN Cricinfo Match Day to look back at proceedings. Sanjay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yashasvi Jaiswal, he loves his first tests. First test in Australia, scored 100. First test in West Indies, scored 100, and now he's done it here as well. And it didn't come as much of a surprise to you.
No, because when you have a good defensive technique, I know people might think I'm harping on defensive technique too much. I only do it when we are overseas, and I only talk about technique when it comes to Test cricket. So anybody who has the big game, well, fine, because every second batter in India or every batter has the big game. But the game to keep the good balls away or potentially wicket-taking balls away and leaving those balls and handling them with respect, Yashasvi Jaiswal has that game. And we saw that in Australia, and more so here when India had to bat the first in this innings, and the first star is always so crucial to not lose too many wickets. It might seem like the England bowling attack looked a little insipid, but a lot of that illusion was created by the way KL Rahul and Jaiswal batted, by leaving potential wicket-taking deliveries alone.
Yeah, Sanjay Bangar had said in the lead up to this series when he was speaking to us that in England, you defend straight, you score square. You saw that in that opening passage from both the openers.
And defend well is mostly about leaving balls alone. And that is what Virat Kohli did so brilliantly in 2014. And that is what we saw with KL Rahul as well. I mean, he left some great deliveries outside off stump. Alone, Yashasvi Jaiswal has done that, and every batter after that has looked to do that. So yes, defend straight, leave as many balls as possible, and there's also another incentive. They say, when you're playing spin, then you play with the turn. So in England, if there is swing and there's movement, you play with the movement. And the added incentive in playing square is the number of pitches that you have in a square of the ground. Like the whole area square on both sides is like rock hard, so a decently timed shot and you get 4 runs in England.
Seen century stands later on in the day, Jaiswal Gill Pant, but those 90 runs from the openers, I heard you on the broadcast talking about how that initial 50 runs might be the most important 50 runs of this series, just in laying down a marker, whatever be the conditions.
Yes, because you take the other scenario, and we've seen that scenario pan out against New Zealand at home and in Australia as well, how India have lost 2 or 3 wickets and the pressure just builds up. But completely new setup. And I know this is not the best England bowling attack, and the Duke's ball in the first 10-15 overs doesn't swing as much as later, but we were watching the game and it wasn't like the bowling was innocuous right from ball number 1. There was Ben Stokes' impact as well with the ball. He bowled, I think, superbly in the second session, but just the way these young Indian batters had the right answers and the respect to balls that were going to be troubling them. In fact, if you remember a few years back, one of the problems the batters had in England was playing with hard hands and away from the body. I remember in commentary talking about still bat and keep that bat close to the body. And all these guys, these are T20 batting sensations who play with that kind of technique. So it is something that they have practiced. And one of the reasons for that is because India goes to England and Australia so often, 35 times, I think, to say in our countries in the last 10 years. So it's almost like they're training themselves more to playing overseas. And when they come to England or Australia, South Africa, it's more about not preparation, but getting reacquainted, which is what happened with KL Rahul, certainly with the new ball.
So Rahul and Jaiswal laid the platform, 91 runs added, one of the longest stints for any opening pair at this venue in a long time. But then India lost 2 wickets in 6 balls. That included debutant Sai Sudarshan. And then after lunch, out walked the captain. New captain, new number 4, 2 wickets lost. But Shubman Gill looked assured from ball 1.
And something that we knew, I mean, let's not pretend that we know everything beforehand, but something that we knew with Shubman Gill was that he wasn't going to get too anxious or nervous, because that side of his we've seen. The only thing to worry about would have been the technique. It's the reason why he hasn't yet quite made an impact overseas, but that has changed now. And there were 2-3 areas where we thought he would be susceptible. Well, he just tackled those grey areas of his batting really well and didn't give England a chance. I think England were trying to bowl that ball full on middle stump, where he tends to not take his pad front pad down the pitch and play across the line, left everything outside off. So he was the part, and the other thing is the 20-30s that he gets and gets out. That also he made sure wasn't going to happen. And that must have been also because of the added responsibility. He wanted to show to the world that he's ready for it. And the celebration also revealed a lot.
Of seizing the day when you consider 50 of 56 balls. That's the fastest he's ever got there. He was a man who wanted to give a message.
Yes, and it wasn't like he was trying to be aggressive. He was just trying to hang in there, make sure he wasn't committing the mistakes that have shortened a lot of his overseas test innings. It was him taking care of that, and the rest was all just ability. And what came through today was the sheer ability some of our Indian batters have. It's the same with England bowlers, the limited ability they had in conditions that didn't perfectly suit them. But that faster pace of scoring wasn't deliberate. It was just Shubman Gill finding things apart from those balls, things quite easy. The only time I thought he was really fighting hard and dug deep to survive and conquer the bowler was that Ben Stokes spell in the third session of day one.
On the job, and Shubman Gill's already joined an elite list of Indians to hit 100 on Test captaincy debut. Let's talk quickly on the England bowling. Were you surprised by how lacking they were, barring Stokes in the middle?
Yes, and I expected Ben Stokes to be up to his tricks with captaincy and try everything out of the box, which he did with Sai Sudarshan. I thought we'll see more and more of that. But somewhere, I think deep down, Ben Stokes has also realized, he won't obviously show it or say it openly, but there's also a reality check with the ability of some of his bowlers. Bashir clearly is not yet potent enough on this kind of a pitch to bowl like Nathan Lyon and get to 4 wickets on day one. And his other two seam bowlers also seemed short of ability to trouble the Indian batters in the kind of form that they were. And I think Chris Woakes in many ways was a disappointment, considering he's the leader of the pack, could have done more. Ben Stokes was easily the best bowler.
Overall assessments on the conditions and what we can expect. It was clearly a good toss to lose. Both captains wanted to bowl first. But now seeing the expectations that this pitch only gets better to bat on, India must make this a giant first innings total.
Giant, because this is a team that recently got 800 runs in Pakistan and went on to win the game. That tells you that they got those 800 runs very quickly, because when a team gets that kind of a score, the match invariably ends in a draw. So yes, get a mountain of runs, because this team is a dangerous team. The batting will not be short of ability like we saw with their bowlers.
All right. So much, Sanjay Manjrekar. Pleasure having your company. Day one at Leeds belongs to India's batters.